different recorded texts, whether it be Christian, atheist, Muslims. Those books represent who we are, and as a librarian, it would be absurd, insane for me to have all this information from so many different sources around the world and only offer it to a sect of the community. So that was a little bit of history of the Blighted Library and what we're kind of experiencing right now, what we're working with Ishmael to create, which is 2 events that I have planned for the celebration. One is a block party, so if you want to come, put on your tennis shoes, because we're going to be line dancing. And also want to give, the community a chance to be outside. The sun is one of the most healthiest, all-natural things that we have given to us by God, and I want to encourage outsideness. I want to encourage community. We are naturally social creatures, so having people come together, especially the children, because while we all have our own personal testimonies, COVID took away from children what we all had the ability to do, to be with one another, to celebrate with one another, to play with one another. You told groups of children in their developmental phase that they couldn't be with each other. They couldn't be outside. They couldn't go to the mosque. They couldn't go to the church. So this block party is going to give us an ability to show that we can still come together, regardless of who we are, to celebrate and to show the children the community that we had growing up. The other event I'm planning for is more of a refined event. I want to teach the children that it's okay to put on dress clothes. The block party is for the jumpsuits and the tennis shoes. Then this second event, which would be a more refined one, would be for the ability for children to dress up and to see themselves in refinement, to know that that's within their grasp, and also to also celebrate our art and our culture within this community. I'm trying to form a mass choir with the local schools. And this is not an easy task. But it would give us an ability to, 1, be together in refinement, and 2, sing together, because that's where, at least for me, now this is more of a personal thing, that's when I felt like our community as a whole was its closest, when we all sung together and we all prayed together. So that's what I'm working on, and hopefully, with much prayer, once I have this all organized, Ishmael will be able to share that information with you, and you all will be open to attending both events.
All right. You have been competing against Ibrahim, and I'm trying to get it as focused as I can. So while I was working on this, I didn't know exactly how to do it. I didn't hear everything you said. So me and this brother here went to Mali together to research manuscripts at Timbuktu. And the person that's on the screen here, his name is Ibrahim. He was one of our tour guides. And I wanted to have him come up here so we can have some authentic African presentation here today. So he's in Mali right now. Assalamu alaikum, Ibrahim, can you hear me? So this is the brother I've been telling you all about right here. This is one of them. Him and his brother Jabril took care of me while I was in Mali and Bamako. Me and the brother Vince here. And I wanted you all to get some authentic Africanism. When we're talking about Black History Month, you can't get no more black than Africa, right? So you want to say anything, brother? I know I put you on the spot here. They did not know you was going to be presenting, only me and Vince knew. So I'm glad you're able to come. You see I got my cloth on, right? I got my stuff on, I'm ready to go. So you tell Jabril that I got my stuff on, man, my mud cloth on. You got anything you want to say to us? Can you hear me? You got anything you want to say?
I think he's trying to.
Okay. You got anything you want to say?
different life. But here, Islam, the Benza, who is my friend, I was in Nigeria here at college. They will see the many things for the life and African life. And in the Peru, and in a lot of American black people there. You know, in the husband home in Africa here. Then in What?
I can hear you.
I say I was in Nigeria here making the visits. Then they see the many different places in Mali here. Jene, like in the 10,000 go mosque is running from Jene, it's called in the Jene Mosque. So everything know in the life, and the wood, and many people know in the woods. Like in African Empire, people build this mosque. It should be like in 10,000, 12 gold. Called in the Jene Mosque. And the Muslim people here want to see how's going on with the African people living in New York and the different places in Europe. So he don't know how's going on here. So that's why I'm trying to find those people to explain how a culture you can come to visit the Mali, can see how a brother how's going on here. Because over there, the people can tell him the reality.
Right.
They can tell him. In Africa here, many people come here to stay here because you know their reality, you know their culture. Because the Africa is the same Africa. African people from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Senegal, from Burkina, all is the same. All is a friend, and then all is Africa. Africa is Africa. Never different with the African people. Africa, same blue. Africa, same culture. Africa, same name is in Africa. Some people think it when you live in Europe or when you live in America, you call it American black, and the people think so, you are American, and you are American black. That is all is the history, because the time the people come from slavery, the slavery people wasn't there, but they can use. You don't know, you lost, you don't know how it came from. Think it, you're in the black, I'm in the white, you know, made something like that. But,
So Ibrahim, where are you at now?
now I'm in Africa, Mali.
Mali. What city? Are you in Bamako?
I'm in Bamako, we are in Bamako.
So you're on a farm. Are you on a farm?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, in Bamako. So Bamako is the city is the capital of Mali. And how many people live in Bamako?
Yeah, 20 million.
20 million people there. Right, so we were in Bamako for most of the time we were there. Then we went to Ségou, we went to Sibi, we went to Genet. And what he was talking about is Genet is where they have the largest built mud mosque. And there was very few people who were able to enter there. And him and his brother helped us get into Genet. According to something that we saw on our Wikipedia, In Vogue magazine did a photo out there. And they had someone who was nude or semi-nude in the mosque, so they don't allow African American people or people from Genet to come there. So we had to sneak in. And they snuck us in there, and we had a great time. But I just wanted you all to see Ibrahim and have him speak to you all a little bit. I see he's going in and out right now. But Bamako was a beautiful place, and he took us around to a lot of different places. So I wanted you all to get a little bit of the experience that I got while I was in Mali. All right.
Ishmael, you don't mind me explaining why we was in?
No.
Okay. Oh, so, gosh, this is a long story. I'm gonna skim through it to the important parts. All right, so when I was younger, I was definitely raised in one of those old school households. I couldn't go outside, so I read the World Encyclopedia. And I'm not talking about one of those single book World Encyclopedias. I'm talking about volume A through volume Z. And when I thought I got to the end, I had to start all over again. But it did open my mind in a way that it inspired exploration in my mind. These places that I was seeing in this book, I was like, oh, I wanted to go there, or I want to have that kind of dog, or I want to have this kind of car. Being exposed to books at a young age definitely it set me on my path. So in this journey of reading books and, you know, being a black man here in America, I got curious about who I was, you know, why am I black here and why are these things happening? And, you know, of course, since I was exposed to books, I went to go reading in books. And that's how I end up getting connected to Africa, learning about my African heritage. I got to college, I went to Virginia Wesleyan University, and I met two of my best friends, Mohammed and Jabril. Mohammed is a Nubian Egyptian, and he looked just like me, so that was telling. And then Jabril is from South Norfolk. He was both of them were wonderful representations of the faith, and you know, I started really then learning about African history and Islam. And that's when I learned about the libraries of Timbuktu, and from there, West Africa. And that kind of started me on my journey, because I feel like I might have cracked a code, but I haven't quite put all the pieces together. An economic code, that is, but we'll talk about that at a later time if I have the opportunity. Nevertheless, when I learned about the libraries of Timbuktu, I wanted to become a librarian, because if I'm going to research this information, I want to do it from a place of correctness. I didn't want to just be a tourist who goes there and takes some nice pictures and then leave. I wanted to make sure that I have the educational background to approach this area and make sure that I'm giving due diligence and respect to that cultural heritage if I was blessed enough to come in contact with it. Well, I ended up going to get my master's degree in library and information science. It's what you need to become a librarian in most places. You should. But once I did that, I started doing my research, because then I was an information professional. And it's kind of symbolistic, because my school was in Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh, so I had to go up my mountain to study what I needed to study. And I found out that the British Library had already did a project, and then I found out that another college in the United States had already did a project. And I looked at their resources and the contacts for who they work with over there, and I just Facebooked, and Facebook connected me to the person I needed to do. His name was Mr. Youssef Traore. He is a librarian in Timbuktu, working in the ancient libraries. So I spoke to him, I told him about my convictions, and I told him that my ultimate goal was to have those manuscripts digitized to offer in our public library system, and then try to have them incorporated into the education system here in Norfolk. Because at this point they're world heritage, and again, being a leader and stepping outside of yourself, even if I'm Christian, I do see the significance of what these libraries are to the world at whole, to black children, and I have no problem with being able to take that information and present it to children, because, you know, especially African American children, literacy is very important, and knowing who you are is very important, and fighting against the stereotypes of you not having history, you being illiterate, you not being able to accomplish great things, your history starting in slavery. Well, these are manuscripts that date back to the Roman Empire, written by African people under the faith of Islam, and I thought that, you know, children should know about it. Well, it was during COVID. I flew out there. I said, you know, I had nothing else better to do, sit in the house, so I flew to Mali and only knew this one person, and he was late getting to the airport where I was at, so I was just in Mali in the middle of the night, not knowing a single person, and turning my life over to the Lord at this point. this was an interesting situation, but then I ended up meeting Ibrahim, and he was the only English speaker there, and you know, they say the Lord looks out for babies and fools, and I just guess so happened I was a fool for flying out there, but the Lord looked out for me, and I made that connection, and from that connection, I was able to bring that information back here, and then starting to plan for the centennial, I met Ishmael, and Ishmael told him about it, and I was like, you know, now I'm going back for my second phase to digitize, and you know, now that I work for NPL, because I work on a plan. This was like a 10-year plan, I apologize. This was a 10-year plan that I've been working on, so I had put myself in the position where I could have direct access to library information. I got my resources, and then when I met Ishmael, and he was like, well, can I go with you the next time you go? And like, it would be almost blasphemous for me to have this email here who have the access to go to such a significant place in the history of Islam and African Americans and not invite him. So I said, oh, of course we can go, and I planned the trip, and we flew out there, and we met with the imam from Timbuktu, Sankore University, which was founded in 1325 by Emperor Mansa Musa. And we digitized some works that's now in the Norfolk Public Libraries. We're just working on the systems and the protocol to make sure it's secure. And while Ishmael was out there, he met business contacts, and now we're starting to build that bond, and that's essentially how we got to this point today. So I highly suggest that if any of you do have the opportunity, time, or resources to go, I suggest you go. When I went out there, so many stereotypes, aka curses, was wiped away from my eyes, and I was able to see that I was an African man in an African location being accepted for who I am, irregardless of where I come from. Everywhere I went, it was like, welcome home, hi brother. You know, they asked us questions, and I sincerely believe that if you all were to go to this location, y'all would be accepted as well. So that was essentially my presentation, and I'd like to thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So that was great, right? So something I wondered, and I just wondered